Welcome to this 5th episode of Dropping Pebbles in the Pond. Wherever you're watching, I guess it might be Facebook or LinkedIn, YouTube, and whether you're watching live or watching the recording, you are all so very welcome. Talking of YouTube, I'm told by my team, and they'll correct me if I've got this wrong, that today marks my 100th YouTube video. So I think that's something to celebrate for an introvert, isn't that right? I'm sure somebody will let me know in a moment, because it's not so long ago that I couldn't bring myself to appear live on video. Damn that inner critic of mine. So settle in, grab a brew or your favorite tipple, and thank you. It is a century. That's brilliant. Settle in, grab a brew or your favorite tipple, and maybe a notebook, because I think you'll probably want to make some notes. It'd be really nice if you can pop in the chat where you're joining from, because I know we've got people from around the world joining, and I'm being supported behind the scenes by my brilliant team, and they'll share comments and questions as they become relevant. And it's important that they do that, because I don't always remember to look. I'm so busy kind of where I am that I forget. Oh, and before I forget, if you want to join the after show Zoom call to pick my brains or share your thoughts, please register. And again, my team will put the link in the comments anytime now, so that you can register and come along to that after show Zoom call. So today's topic: self-promotion without the ick. 8 years ago, last month actually, I was sat in a swanky hotel in Paris as an attendee of a women's mastermind. And during this mastermind, or on this day actually, one of the very influential American influencers was talking to us about our personal brand and promoting ourselves. And she set us to the task of creating our BFD statement. And if I tell you that B is for big and D is for deal, you can probably guess what the F was for. Now, I had a very unpleasant, visceral reaction to being asked to do that task. And in that moment, I knew that I would never refer to myself or think of myself as a BFD. But as someone who's run her own business since 1994, I knew that self-promotion had to be authentic and on my terms, but I couldn't avoid the self-promotion. You see, there comes a time in an ambitious introvert's career when they realize that they need to master self-promotion. Cue the queasy feeling in that moment. In fact, most of my introverted clients feel ick at the whole idea, as I used to. But here's the thing. Once introverts like you and me are aware enough to know that it's an obstacle, but also know that they want to, indeed, maybe need to overcome that obstacle, they're going to have to do that if they want the promotion that they so richly deserve. You see, there are no points in life for being the best kept secret. Let's face it, the world of work and social media seems filled with confident extroverts who happily talk about themselves and their thing. But many of them are actually confident introverts like me, who've stopped hiding their light under a bushel. Given the pace of business today, hoping your work speaks for itself is a pretty dangerous strategy, as only the very best managers and leaders will notice. So self-promotion becomes necessary. And the good news is it's a skill anyone can learn. So my intention here is to remove some of the fear, some of maybe that ick feeling that some of you are feeling, and offer a few strategies that keep your integrity and authenticity intact. How does that sound? Is that a deal? Okay. So firstly, let's unpack self-promotion. You see, it's not about changing who you are. No one is asking you to big yourself up or overinflate your ego. And that's just as well, because that's not our way. Self-promotion is about communicating your value effectively to other people. It's simply the act of showcasing your relevant achievements, skills, capabilities, and potential to other people so you give yourself a fair chance of being around the table. The table I'm talking about is the one that you have to sit around quite often to advance your career, to attract opportunities, and to build your personal brand. And make no mistake, this is an important table to have a seat at. So let's look at how to self-promote with integrity, because integrity and authenticity are so important to many of us. And what matters is relevancy. You're not crowing or making a big deal about everything you're doing. Most of my clients struggle because they feel uncomfortable drawing attention to themselves because they'd hate to come across as arrogant or boastful. But when we do it right, self-promotion is neither of those things. The struggle is compounded by the issue many introverts have of underestimating the value of their own contributions. And I'm just going to pause there for a moment and let that land, because many of my introverted clients underestimate their value and the value of their contributions. Now, I'm all for humility in the right places. It's actually an excellent leadership quality. But we have to face the fact that this tendency towards humility is likely to hinder career advancement if we overdo it. So we need to find ways to be visible and attract rightful recognition, because both of those are crucial factors in climbing the corporate ladder or achieving entrepreneurial success for that matter. The key comes in the form of strategies that align with your personality and your comfort level, allowing you to showcase your accomplishments authentically. So I've pulled together 5 techniques tailored specifically for introverts. And let's start with number 1. The first is to cultivate a strong online presence. For introverts who prefer written communication over face-to-face interactions, cultivating a strong online presence can be an effective way to showcase your achievements without stepping out of your comfort zone. Start by optimizing your LinkedIn profile, highlighting your skills, experiences, and most importantly, accomplishments, and in a professional manner. And if you don't have a LinkedIn profile yet, it's time to get one. It's going to be one of the bonus trainings in my Frustrated to Flourishing program, because it's one of the things that really is a window into the world of what it is you're doing. LinkedIn's the place to regularly share your thought leadership pieces, to write insightful articles, industry updates, personal achievements, or to demonstrate your expertise and engage with your professional network. This is where people get to know what you stand for and what you're about. Number 2 on the list is to craft your narrative. Now, whether you're utilizing the written communications many of us prefer, or speaking, which is one of the most powerful tools in self-promotion, storytelling is where we need to be. Introverts can leverage their ability to think deeply and reflectively by crafting compelling narratives that highlight the achievements and their unique strengths. Rather than simply listing accomplishments, Focus on telling a story that illustrates the challenges you faced, the actions you took, and the outcomes you achieved. Remember what I did at the beginning of today's show? You see, that's what people really want to know, and it allows you to communicate your value in a more authentic and engaging way, a way that makes people want to listen. No one wants to hear the when I's endlessly drone on. I'm sure you've been in their presence. When I did this, and when I did that, and when I'm going to do this. Where's the story, though? Where's the arc that takes us where we need to be? Number 3 is about building trust with advocates and allies. Now, this is about building a support network of advocates who will sing your praises to those in power. You may be thinking, hang on, Joe, I'm an introvert. Why am I going to need a support network? But I can't stress the importance enough of having deliberately, intentionally creating a support network. This is about cultivating relationships with colleagues, mentors, supervisors who recognize and appreciate your contributions. And don't hesitate to seek their support when it comes to promoting your achievements. Some of you may be watching this because I sent you a message that said, come and join me. Utilizing my support network. When you receive motivational feedback or recognition for your work, don't keep it to yourself. Find a way of sharing it with others that you're comfortable with. Again, this isn't being boastful. It's owning your gifts, talents, and achievements. Whether it's testimonials, recommendations, or endorsements from trusted sources, they can all lend credibility to your accomplishments and help you to overcome any reservations that you may have about self-promotion. Let me just say a little more about credibility whilst we're on the subject. You may have heard me say this before, and I make no apology for that. David Maister, who is a well-respected in the professional services circle, has an equation about trust. He says that trust equals credibility plus reliability plus intimacy. That's the ability to build relationships for the Brits in the room. And it's divided by self-orientation. That's the denominator. I use this equation so often, both as a guide and as a diagnostic. If trust between us is not where it needs to be, and trust has to exist on both sides for there to be trust, then what's missing? Is there a lack of demonstrated credibility? Talk is cheap, remember. Is there a lack of reliability? Too many people overpromise and underdeliver because they struggle to say no. Do we know each other well enough? Have we taken time to get to know what makes each other tick? And if we get to the denominator, the self-orientation, is it always all about me and my agenda? If so, that self-orientation is going to reduce trust dramatically. I know it can be difficult for introverts to build relationships and trust, but as John Donne rightfully said, no man is an island. Humans need connection, even we introverts. We just need the right connection. And if you want to connect a little bit more with me, remember to sign up for that linked for the Zoom call after the show, where you can pop in, you can ask me questions, share your thoughts and comments. Let's connect there. Number 4 on the list is focus on adding value. Always, always add value. Give before you expect. One of the most effective ways for introverts to promote themselves without feeling discomfort is to focus on adding value to others. Instead of approaching self-promotion as a one-sided endeavour focused solely on advancing our own interests, seek opportunities to contribute to the success of others, to the broader community. This means that you don't have to draw attention to yourself as much, and you can approach it from a more altruistic standpoint. Volunteer for projects or initiatives where you can leverage your skills and expertise to make meaningful impact. Offer to mentor junior colleagues or share your knowledge and insights with others in your field. Think about the thought leadership pieces on LinkedIn. By positioning yourself as a willing, helpful, generous resource, but not a doormat, you can naturally attract recognition and opportunities without resorting to the overt self-promotion tactics that we were encouraged to do when it came to a BFD statement. Number 5, and last on my list, is celebrate your achievements. Introverts often downplay their accomplishments or shy away from recognition. So the first thing to do is to acknowledge and then celebrate your achievements and progress, and do that for yourself. How will you be able to share them with others if you can't admit them to yourself? So learning to celebrate your achievements is an important part of self-promotion. Take pride in your successes, and no, pride is not a sin if it's about owning your strengths and achievements. Make a note of them so they don't conveniently slip from your memory, and decide who you're going to share them with. I suggest you choose someone from your support network first. Get into the habit, into the routine of sharing and getting comfortable with it, and then decide how you're going to let the boss or the person of influence know what you're capable of and what you're ready for. I was taught this magic technique of focusing on the benefit, or what was just beyond the thing we were talking about, which makes it, rather than the achievement itself, which makes it so much easier for me. And if you're not sure what I mean, because I did mumble that a bit, here's an example. I could say something like, one of the things that really stayed with me from completing my master's in science was that I can build strong and productive relationships with people, even if I initially struggle to click with them. Now in this, the MSc, the kind of bit that I want people to go, oh, she's got an MSc, becomes a bit of a throwaway line, because what I'm saying, what I'm talking about, is the relationship building skill set. And of course, that is likely to open up questions around, oh, so what masters was it you did? Or what happened during your masters that got you to realize that? So all of this is inviting me to say more about my experience. And what I'm doing is sharing something that I'm proud that I've achieved, but without going, look at me with what I've got. So whether it's a project you completed ahead of schedule, a glowing piece of client feedback, or business that you've won, find a way to highlight your contributions and the impact they've made. So, do you now feel that you can engage in some authentic and relevant self-promotion without feeling so ick? It's what some of the participants on the Becoming Braver adventure that I ran both over last summer and earlier this spring decided to do. And frankly, it worked beautifully. So, are you ready for today's pebble? Because it wouldn't be dropping pebbles in a pond if I didn't drop a pebble. So are you ready for that pebble? Today's pebble is that mastering the art, there it goes, there are the ripples. Mastering the art of self-promotion as an introvert is not about changing who you are or becoming something you're not. Instead, it's about finding ways to showcase your achievements and talents in a manner that feels authentic to you. And what matters here is relevancy. You're not crowing or making a big deal or even thinking about being a BFD about everything you're doing. So embrace your introversion. Tell a story or 2 or 3 or 10. and intentionally advance your career with grace and with authenticity. Now, we can't end there, because I also have a poll on my LinkedIn profile, which will be, if it's not already there, will be live any minute now. And my team are putting the link there. So I'd love to hear your view on how you currently do or would prefer to self-promote. So make sure that once we're finished here, and maybe once we've finished that Zoom call, remember to register for the Zoom call, because that's the way you get the link to join. Pop over to my poll on the LinkedIn profile if you're not already there, and share your views. Now, yep, the link it's saying will come in 3 minutes. That's good. Now, I want to leave you with a final question. And there'll be time for you to ask me questions, both here, if there are any, but also in that Zoom room. Are you ready to step out from the shadows and let your light shine? Because best kept secrets rarely get what they want in life. It might not be right for everyone right now, but for those like me with some place that they want to get to, self-promotion is a no-brainer. Now, we've got a few minutes, so let's see if there are any questions or comments that the team want me to respond to now. I'm just looking across to see if there's anything they want me to. Hi from Asia. Thank you for staying up late for us, High Tech Mother. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, 100 live videos and podcasts on YouTube is no mean feat for someone who wouldn't be seen dead in front of a camera not very long ago. So I am proof that anything is possible when it comes to developing skills, developing confidence, and self-promotion. So if there are no other questions or comments, maybe you're saving them up for that Zoom room, please do. Oh, Dr. Nia Thomas, lovely. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. I hope you'll join us in the Zoom room too. Fantastic. So I've got a message that says there are many. Thank you, Brad, for your comments. I've seen those pop up a few times as well. Thank you. Do have a LinkedIn profile. Yes, if you have a LinkedIn profile and you're posting. So I've recently seen one of your thought leadership pieces, High Tech Mother, and it was profound and a very important thing that you shared. So thank you for sharing that, and keep sharing that. You know, LinkedIn is one of those places where we can sometimes be controversial, but definitely talk about what's important to us. And there'll be people who support and there'll be people who don't. That's the nature of any social media platform. I hardly need tell you that. But the reality is that I welcome all of those comments, because valuing diversity means that I value that breadth of opinion. And just because I may not agree with your opinion doesn't mean that we can't have a healthy adult relationship as well, adult to adult relationship. So keep sharing on your profile, High Tech Mother, because it does make a difference. Thank you. So another question or comment up there at the moment about adding value is the key to building relationships. Absolutely. And that's, for me, one of the ways in which I believe I can self-promote, by keep adding value, because otherwise all I'm doing is kind of being noise in the system, rather than giving people things like today's little strategies and things that they can take away in order to feel less icky about self-promotion, and recognize that what it is actually just showcasing their natural skills, talents, and achievements. No more than that. Everything that they're right to. Oh, Shelley, Thank you. Watching from Kent in the Garden of England. Just to let you know, I had a lovely hug with Shelley today. Shelley is a garden manager in a beautiful garden where I often, if I can, pop to having a coffee on a Thursday morning. And I was delivering training early this Thursday morning, but I managed to pop along there at lunchtime just before they closed. Managed to wander around the gardens and have some coffee. So thank you very much for joining me today. Remember to register both for the Zoom session afterwards, but also for future shows. It's every fortnight at the moment. And if you register, you'll be alerted you can also ask for a reminder, but you'll be reminded when I'm going live, because there will always be another pebble to be dropped in the pond. Thank you for joining me tonight, and hopefully see you in the Zoom room.